Hello, my name is Matthew Souls, and the name of the studio that I'm teaching this term is An Ambiguous Utopia, Experiments in Collective Form. The studio is guided by two simple, but I think important principles. One is that architecture is always necessarily a formal phenomena. Two, that form is always social and by extension somehow political and ideological. So this studio will be a direct immersion into the pleasures and possibilities of form and their capacity to strengthen community and build resilience. Methodologically, the studio is guided by three convictions. One is the incredible power in learning from existing buildings and precedents. Two, that the close engagement with buildings in person bodily is invaluable in learning about the power of architecture. And three, that because form exists materially in space, it is especially empowering to explore form through building physical models as an active part of design experimentation. So the structure for this studio is quite simple. It's going to have three parts. Students are free to work throughout the entire term as individuals or also in pairs. In part one, it will be roughly 4 weeks in which students individually or as pairs will choose one project from a list of great projects in Vancouver. These projects will include some things like the Marine Building, which is the wonderful 1930s Art Deco building downtown Vancouver, or Arthur Erickson's quite amazing Robson Square Law Courts. Anyway, students will individually or as pairs pick one of these great projects and then work on them, analyze them, experiment with them. We, as an entire class, will go on about 4 walking tours, 4 individual studio days where we will visit these projects and try to spend significant time inside them, outside them, learning from them. Now, in your experimentation, maybe the best way to think about this is you will be doing drawings and models, but like a DJ that listens closely to an existing song, finds components within that song, samples those components, and then remixes them into something new. That's how you will be approaching something like Robson Square or the Marine Building. So physical modeling and drawing of existing conditions to generate something new. Part two in the studio will be exactly also 4 weeks and exactly like the first part. Instead of looking at buildings in Vancouver, we will expand our gaze to remarkable and great projects worldwide. So, for instance, on the list of projects you can choose from will be Louis Kahn's kind of mind-blowing Exeter Library in New Hampshire, and here behind me, the Boa Noa Tea House by Alvaro Siza outside Porto, Portugal. So at the end of 4 weeks, you will have experimental models and drawings of these remarkable projects from the world. And also, of course, from part one in the studio, this great body of work from Vancouver. Part three, the final part in the class, which will be about 5.5 weeks long, will be where you will mix your findings and studies from part one, the Vancouver projects, and part two, the world projects, into a kind of love child where the formal preoccupations and knowledge from each merge together to produce something, again, entirely new. You will be given a site in East Vancouver to locate this final project, this final love child, and you will be free to determine the exact program for this building in East Vancouver. But in a general sense, it will be a public building, and it could be something like a cultural center, a recreation center, community garden, kitchen, or dining hall. Um, So, very last comment in closing, the title for the studio, An Ambiguous Utopia, is inspired by a novel by Ursula Le Guin called The Dispossessed. The subtitle is An Ambiguous Utopia. And it's about two planets that are near each other and can see each other, but they have totally different political ideologies. One is largely capitalist, and one is an anarchist experiment. And so, why I'm using this title as the title for the studio is I would like us, as we're experimenting with these formal possibilities and are engaged with materiality, light, beauty, to think about how they foster different types of relationships between human beings that have immediate bodily ramifications, but also larger social and political ramifications. Thanks very much.